Ian.
Hello yet again, Dave.
Hello, Ian. Tonight we have a guest, Jake Thiewes from Out Motorsports.
Hello, Jake.
Hello. It's great to be here.
Thank you for coming into our virtual blanket fort to talk to us tonight.
This is exciting. Are we going to have a pillow fight?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
pillow fights.
That's usually how it devolves into something like that, yes.
Yeah, not so hot in the COVID era, pillow fights, right?
Yeah. Well, we're vaxxed, boosted. Maybe we're doing that again. I don't know.
Right? Yeah, I want dumplings from the shop and I want a pillow fight, right? Yeah.
Perfect.
So you came across our radar, like we found out about Out Motorsports from our good friend Chris Landry. So just being on weird car Twitter, kind of like, all of this pointed us in your direction, and we were very interested in Out Motorsports. So for anyone who doesn't know, would you mind telling folks what Out Motorsports is?
Yeah, so we are basically a community first and foremost that's basically buy-in for the LGBTQ automotive enthusiast world. So whatever you're doing with cars, playing with cars, amateur motorsports in particular is kind of where we got our start. But we do a lot with, online gatherings, in-person gatherings, backroads drives. We're hosting some track events finally. We've got an element of new car reviews that started a few years ago. It's been a lot of fun. Just anything encouraging people who are part of that alphabet soup to get out and be an active part of the car community, because it's maybe a little more welcoming than you would think.
Yeah, especially when they happen to have like an awesome website that and like a community, right? That like it feels like that they could just be a part of, right? Like automotive culture has not been the most welcoming space historically, right? And
I think the stereotype is there for a reason, which is to say it's generally true. There's a lot of people who will tell you they don't care very loudly, which says a lot without saying a whole lot. So I think having a space that is, run by someone who looks like or identifies like you do is a really important thing.
Absolutely, right? Yeah. So how did the idea for this manifest? Like what happened?
So, I've been very fortunate in that I came out at a fairly young age, somewhat. I was like 18 or 19, and I had been doing NASA track weekends, like in college. That was one of the first things I got into. And I just kind of grew up with that track as part of my extended, chosen family. And they were some of the first people I came out to while I was working at the track events before I even started driving and, eventually racing. And I really had no real pushback. Everyone was very welcoming. And I have a friend in the Northeast who had a very similar experience, a couple years younger than me, but like same sort of thing going on. And we were just talking and realized, we've both had really good experiences, but we don't know any other gay car guys, but they're probably out there.
Sure.
And at the time I was, out of school, trying to find my place in the Northern Virginia, DC metro area and like make the friends that were really, the type friends that you really love to hang out with all the time. So I was trying all these different groups, meeting all these people. And in a lot of big metro areas, there's a group called Stonewall Sports that hosts LGBT, social sports leagues. And, there's gay kickball, gay dodgeball, gay volleyball, flag football, like you name it, they've got all these things. And it's like, all right, well, there's got to be some sort of queer car enthusiast, something that I can find even online. And we couldn't find anything. So I called Tyler up and I said, hey, I think we should make the thing that we can't find on the internet.
That's awesome.
Here we are.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So from there, like standing up an online community, everything is so much easier now than it used to be because, right, you can do it online. It's easier to find people. It's easier to like look for this space, right, for people to come across it. Like what was kind of like the reception and kind of the early like folks kind of joining and kind of feedback from individuals that found you?
So it was interesting. The first iteration of our website was just a WordPress blog where the two of us wrote about, like, I went to the track this weekend and here's how it went. I finished third or whatever. But when we first created the website and started writing and made a Facebook page, I, was obviously excited to share with my Facebook friends, who were a good chunk were racing buddies. And I don't think I'll ever forget this comment that was left. It was all very positive things. And then there was one comment where someone said, "Why does it have to be gay racing? Why can't it just be racing?" And it came from someone who, his wife is a real estate agent, and he had her name and logo all over his race car, which was like the same thing. Like, why can't it just be racing instead of real estate racing? But the thing that kind of stood out to me was, first, everyone in my immediate friend circle like jumped all over this guy. And I think it was a question that came from a good place. Like, I've known him in person, and he's like a good dude. And he's got kids. And I think that the response that I ended up giving him probably hit home because he had kids that were, growing up as everyone does, and maybe figuring themselves out, like when you get to your teenage years. But, my response to him was like, look, this isn't for you. I don't care if you don't like it or don't understand it. If this helps even one gay, lesbian, trans, whatever person who stumbles across on the internet and thinks that they're the only one who is some form of queer and into cars, and maybe it helps them like not kill themselves because they can't find someone else that's like them, that's the point. Right. I don't care if the straight white cis guy in Northern Virginia likes it or not. Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of abrasive to say it that bluntly, but that's just how I feel. It's how I felt from day one.
Right.
No, and this is a thing that I have abused this analogy 100 times on this show at this point, but this impulse that some people have to point out when things aren't for them, kind of accidentally, it's my analogy for it is like going to Starbucks and standing by where the coffees get delivered, and every time they call someone else's name, you just go, "That's not my coffee. That was not for me either." And people just do that all day, all the time on the internet, and it's crazy to me.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because I think the internet, having this barrier where we're not in person, it's just so easy to type something that is like a thought that maybe you wouldn't say, or you wouldn't say the same way in person.
Yeah, totally.
And I've had so many interesting conversations with people where like they'll say, would you say that to me in person? And like, yeah, I would, because I try to practice what I preach. But I think a lot of people, and I'm guilty of it too, some of the time, it's just so easy to get worked up. And instead of taking a moment to process before you say something, you shout out, "This isn't my coffee."
Right.
It's like, great, it's not. You're right.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting us know.
And having a partner kind of work with you on like a website or, an endeavor, I think like having other folks involved in this, like between Ian and I, like if something gets charged online, like Ian will come over and slap the phone out of my hand, like just having a dynamic where like other people have visibility into the conversation, right? Like that changes it, right? Like knowing that that there's an audience, like that this is here, this is posted, like, and then there's like the shame delete that you see happen later on, like,
right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting to see that kind of dynamic, like play itself out. Yeah. No, that's really cool, Jake. It's amazing. And like, we're completely psyched to see like this kind of stuff out there, because like there's so many elements of culture in general that are a section of car culture, right? Like car culture is just a smaller makeup of the overall. And like, you can't you can't unravel them, right? Like it's so entwined, right? And yeah, go ahead,
No, I was just going to say, one thing that you were talking about really kind of brought a thought up for me is that, we've talked with a few people on the show that are maybe not traditionally associated with, they would not normally be who you would think of as part of car culture or whatever, from a few different groups, right? And to a person, everyone has always said, and I completely believe this, that if you talk to another car enthusiast one-on-one, that you're gonna be fine, right? That everyone's gonna be friendly. No one's gonna be like, "What are you doing here?" Like, no one's gonna say that to your face at the track, and you're gonna be able to kind of connect with them, because I think cars is sort of like, for enthusiasts, is sort of like a social lubricant to sort of like either sidestep or maybe back into more difficult conversations, because you just connect on cars, and that works on a one-on-one level. But then I think that sentiment that you were talking about like loudly proclaiming that they don't care or whatever, I feel like that gets worse in groups. and your article about Dominion Raceway is kind of like making me kind of make that connection a little bit.
That place is it's a dumpster fire. I'll just say that. I'll say the quiet part out loud there. We can come back to Dominion on your point about, like, the car culture in general, though. I have said for a while, I think cars are one of those like great equalizers where, like, everyone, even if you're not a car person, everyone has like a story, because, like, a car takes you on a journey that makes memories for you and your family, your friends, or whatever. And like, they're just so intertwined especially in the United States. Like, we're a car country,
right? We
don't have good public transit for a lot of parts of the country. So they're just intertwined. It is interesting, though, for as much as I think they're a great equalizer and you wouldn't hear disparaging remarks like one-on-one, I'm also fortunate in that I'm 6'1", I'm white, I have a good beard, and I have a deep voice. So the gay thing comes up like later in conversation if I meet someone new. And I do have some like more, gay friends who you would probably clock them a little easier than you would me. And I have friends who are women and friends who are trans who have gone to the racetrack and have heard remarks to their face or behind their back, but like, with the intent of being heard, of, a "what are you doing here" sort of thing. Not maybe with those words, but, I think women in particular have a hard time. "Oh, you drive the car? Like,
right.
I thought you were just here supporting so-and-so." And it's like, no, he's my pit crew.
Right.
So I think for as much as we think there's progress, there's also a lot of just stereotypes that we as a society still have to work through.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
And I think like one of the kind of more shocking things about like Trump coming to power and like the 45 administration was like, for me personally, was seeing the volume of stuff like that was out there that like, oh shit, like the world, like the United States really is this racist, misogynist, like, homophobic, like all of this stuff that like, because of who I am, I didn't have that kind of stuff directed towards me. Right. And so like, so seeing the volume of that, like, made me understand more how all of this does fit, like how all of this is still super prevalent in car culture, right? Being just a section of the overall culture, right? And how important it is to create these spaces where that's just removed, where it is a welcoming space, right? Like it is running directly in the face of all of this stuff that people have had to put up with in culture and in car culture, right?
Yeah. And yes, I think having, for those 4 years, having a president who, I think his rhetoric gave a lot of people a feeling of empowerment to maybe say things that they felt they couldn't before. And, maybe things that they felt all along, but wouldn't want to vocalize. But then if you have, a little bit of a tribe, suddenly that's easier. The other interesting thing is just some like implicit bias that maybe as the world marches on and, younger kids grow up in a different world than even, any of us grew up in. It's just fascinating. Yesterday was International Women's Day, and my day job company hosted a lunchtime kind of education session that they started with a a riddle, and the punchline, it was basically saying, like asking who you think the CEO is for this theoretical situation. And the riddle is trying to stump everyone. And the punchline is the CEO is a woman. And this whole riddle doesn't make sense because the way it's worded, every single person, including a lot of women on the call, assumed CEO equals man.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just some of those things. And it's even, coming from people who are senior leaders in our company and women, and they're like, oh, my brain defaulted to man.
Right.
So I think some of that is just cultural, that unless you're growing up truly as like a teenager now, maybe that generation will start to get rid of some of those biases. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's just like a self-perpetuating thing too, right? Of like, people make patterns in their head, and if the pattern just keeps replicating because that's the only thing that they recognize, then it's just going to keep going and going and going. But,
yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
All right. So while we're down in the weeds here, I do want to talk about the Dominion Raceway thing, because we talked last week about the truck rally.
Beep beep, I'm a big boy is what we
beep,
called
beep,
it.
Right.
Yep.
Beep beep, I'm a big boy.
So they did come here. Well, sort of.
Yes. And so I go, we're in Denver, but I go out east for work a lot. And in particular, I go to Hagerstown. So familiar with that dumpster fire over there.
So you're familiar how not close Hagerstown is to DC proper.
Yes. I am very painfully.
I'm sitting in DC proper right now.
Yeah.
Hagerstown is not visible from
no. And I think the other
clear that up.
And I think the other thing that people don't understand if they don't spend a lot of time in that area is that I think, especially in like our political sort of discourse, we talk about like the DC area and the Beltway as this like very liberal bastion, whatever, which is true, but it gets hillbilly fast, like fast, fast as you get out of the city. And I don't think people realize like Maryland's not that big of a state, but like 95% of it is super duper redneck, and not necessarily the friendly type.
Yeah, right.
So that's one thing. The other thing that we were laughing about last week is obviously the idea that you're going to slow down the Beltway is just one of the most hilarious ideas. That
right. Like, have you read a news article about the Beltway? Like, it's never fast.
Right. Well, have you read, I think, is probably where you're going to end that.
Well, okay. Have you watched a Fox News clip about DC traffic?
Right.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you want to come slow down traffic? Like, congrats, you're going to just be in it.
Yeah.
The Beltway's like 60 miles long. Enjoy.
Yeah, it's like trying to go to like White Castle and give people food poisoning. You're just double dipping at that point.
Right.
It's not gonna
I just like I fully support peaceful assembly and freedom of speech and everything, like however silly I think it is. Like, yeah, if you want to spend all that money on diesel and come here but not come here and drive in circles on the slow road that everyone else is also driving slow on,
right, that
also all of us locals can avoid because of public transit and we know the side roads, be my guest. I hope you had fun.
Yeah. Oh, whenever I'm out there for work, like 60% of my day is just having locals give me incomprehensible directions that I will not remember. And
around here, Waze will take you like through someone's living room, but it'll save you time.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true.
It's like Nissan Altima blazes through behind you.
With its headlights off, missing 2 hubcaps.
Yes.
Yeah.
It just jumps from window to window there.
Yeah.
But I did want to talk about the Dominion thing in particular, because I think it does get at something about car enthusiast culture too, which is like there is this like sort of no step on snake sort of undercurrent to car culture, and I think it's sort of understandable because it's the car represents individual freedom or whatever.
Right.
And I think that's sort of where that connection is to the people who say I don't care or whatever when it comes to motorsports or something like that. That's, I think, the link back to just sort of backsliding into right wing sort of nonsense is the very like super duper individualism that can get very silly very quickly.
Yeah, I think so. Dominion is an interesting case, and I don't want to just like take time to just slander them because that's not the point. But there's a reason that no one runs there at the road course after only 5 years of being in operation. Every club and sanctioning body except the SCCA has stopped running there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And this was supposed to be the big, exciting new racetrack with a 2-mile road course an hour outside of DC proper.
Oh, wow.
And we raced there for a year or maybe a year and a half. And I mean, we're not there. My friends who were working there quit. Like, it's just the leadership leaned into, I think, attracting the most volume of people they could. Mm-hmm. Which leans into the drag. They have a drag strip. It's an 8th mile, I think. And then they have a round oval track for NASCAR. And I think they leaned into doing that a lot more. And if you focus on those sorts of crowds, the stereotypical people, especially in Stafford, Virginia, which is much like Hagerstown, not actually in DC.
Right.
It takes an hour to get there from my front door if there's no traffic. If it's a day ending in Y, it's more like 90 minutes. Mm-hmm. So you are, to your point, Ian, like you're well outside of DC. And, you know, they're trying to keep the lights on. I don't know how good or not of a job they're doing, but I think if you're trying to keep the lights on, the last thing you should do is post a video on social media that shows a Confederate flag. That just doesn't seem to appeal to the widest possible number of people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a very passive way to make an active statement. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Now, the funny thing, I did see after I wrote that article late last night, I saw a woman who showed up just to cover the event out of like morbid curiosity. And she was taking pictures from the other side of the fence. And her quote was, "There are more porta potties here than people." So for all of what they told the world very loudly and quietly on social media, no one actually came. So I found that kind of karmic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I did think that the whole thing that they said on the whole statement they gave you in response of kind of like this isn't about politics or whatever. I mean, posting, you know, something to social media about how you're hosting a explicitly political event is about politics, and they sort of invited that conversation just by posting anything at all about it.
Right. And if you look at other racetracks in the area, you know, whether they host road course events or drag strips or, you know, circle track, whatever, they just post car things because they're a racetrack. And Dominion is also like they have an indoor concert venue and they host outdoor concerts sometimes, but still, they don't share entertainment related content on that account frequently, if ever, otherwise. So again, it kind of says the quiet part very loudly. And I just thought it was a very interesting choice. Well,
and we have something similar here where we have a track here, a drag track here that has a kart track and a skid pad and that sort of stuff, called Bandamere. And they before the pandemic, really.
Yeah, the pandemic.
They really only posted about, like you said, like their whole thing was just about cars and car events and blah, blah, blah. And then I think the pandemic really, like, just like everything else in the last 6 years, has really just like pushed people to plant flags, and sometimes literally, and they were, you know, hosting Trump train. They were like the staging for Denver for like, the convoys of like pick up all the brodozers in the state, beep, beep, I'm a big boy. Yeah. And they were doing, anti-COVID posts and they were doing the staging for the Trump convoy here and all of that. And it's just so funny to me that that's the same crowd that would like get mad at Bubba Wallace for mixing politics and motorsport or whatever. And it only seems to be in one direction.
Right. It's the shut up and dribble crowd.
Yeah. No, exactly. You're exactly right. That's exactly it.
And again, I have no problem. It's a private business. Like, great, do what you want, but don't do all that and then later complain about the fact that people don't want to come pay money to rent your venue to host something.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just, and especially as someone who's trying to grow a business right now, like optics matter a lot. And I'm very careful, even on Twitter. We've got my Twitter and then the Out Motorsports Twitter, which is just me like shit posting under a different name. But I'm very careful with what I even click the like icon for under the Out Motorsports account.
Sure.
Because the internet never forgets, and I'm very aware of that.
Right.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I think that there's like also this kind of like weird, subtle like opportunity to be slightly antagonistic that is often like grasped by people in this position, right? Where I feel like that a lot of folks have felt like that someone's existence is an affront to them. Someone's like political beliefs or something like that is different from them, and they have something that's being taken away or diminished by that other person existing, right? And I feel like it's resulted in this like, it's kind of like if we didn't tell you, profanity is perfectly fine on the podcast. This whole like Trump fuck your feelings like thing, right? Where it's like it is this like out of nowhere just being antagonistic with the purpose of being antagonistic, right? And so like this, like when I see like the Dominion folks like not editing around a Confederate flag, I see them like just like my mind goes to like this is just one of those like opportunities to be antagonistic, and they're just fine with it, right? Like I just feel like that kind of stuff is so prevalent, like quiet or loud right now, and like I don't know. I don't really know where to go from here with that, but like that antagonistic thing is something that is just such a goddamn virus, right? It really upsets me. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the frustrating part is like, what do you do?
Right.
All I can think to do is vote with my wallet. And fortunately, the group I race with hasn't been racing there for several years at this point. So I don't have to tell them I'm not coming to those events. And then for the sake of hosting events, I hosted my first with Summit Point Motorsports Park, which is in West Virginia on a map.
Okay.
And we showed up and they had decorated the food shack or whatever you want to call it with all sorts of pride shit when we got there. And like, I about cried because I'm at a racetrack in West Virginia hosting an event for a bunch of gay people and there's rainbow flags everywhere.
That's amazing.
So if Summit Point Motorsports Park can do that, like,
right. Can you just not put a Confederate flag in your video?
Right. Like, read the room.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
so one track has made me feel very welcome, and another has made me and a whole lot of people feel like we don't need to go back there. Yeah. And I would sure love to host more events, and Summit Point seems like a great place to host them right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's good to hear.
That's so cool, right? Yeah. No. Oh my God. Right? Yeah.
You're right though that just not posting something is really, I mean, that is the bare minimum of of possible behavior.
Right. And when Summit Point posted that they had us there for an event, they always do like a couple pictures, after an event concludes. Like, they considered the optics and they want to appeal to the most number of people possible, which great. Maybe some people wouldn't like the fact that they had, a bunch of queers playing a racetrack. They posted pictures of all of our stupid $1,500 cars catching air out of the carousel backwards and said, look at this fun event we hosted last weekend. That is how you do optics.
Yeah. Right.
Everyone loved it. we're coming back. They didn't lose business. Like, they're doing it right.
It's almost like not being an asshole is just like the best possible option. It's almost like it's even good for you to not be an asshole.
This is a health tip.
It's insane. That's why it's another thing that I always say on the show is like, people are just bad at being selfish too. Like, just be better at looking out for yourself by not being an asshole.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So tell us about like, I was looking at the Rainbow Road Rallycross, like picture recap. Was that the one at Summit Point?
That was the first one at Summit. Yeah. So I had hosted.
I'm going to share a browser tab so that we can like show pictures from it, because that's fantastic. Yeah.
So while you pull that up, that was the first event at a racetrack. I had hosted a couple events prior where we went off-roading. And there was kind of this growing interest in hosting more and more large scale events that can have a lot of people. So I called a friend and said, hey, I need to rent a whole racetrack, please. And he made that happen.
Yeah. That's one amazing. Racetrack, please. Yes.
Yeah.
What has been sort of the overall like experience of like the first timers that are there? I mean, I know first time I went to a racetrack, it was a magical thing. I'm assuming that's a fairly universal experience.
Yeah, everyone had so much fun. Most of the people who were here, like the headline says, I think it was 48 drivers. And we had more than that with like guests and, crew and whatever the people brought. But yeah, a lot of first timers. A lot of people had a ton of fun, no bad attitudes in the whole paddock. It was so nice, like a lot of camaraderie. Cars broke, people jumped in to help fix. Someone managed to blow up an LT1 powered Fleetwood, which like, I don't know how you do that, but too many neutral drops. So then, do you need to drive my car? Can we re-register you? Like, it was just so much teamwork, even though everyone was ultimately competing to win. And we gave away real prizes. I gave away a set of tires to the winner.
Oh, wow.
Sweet. That's awesome.
So just like the person with the best track time or the best lap time got a set of tires?
Yeah. Of the challenge class.
Gotcha.
So we had a challenge class, and then we had like a run your daily driver class.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
This AMC Eagle's amazing.
That is an Eagle. That is taken the lap before he came out of a turn and had the shock tower collapse from rust onto the steering column and lock the steering wheel.
Oh,
at like 3 miles an hour, but still, he's the only one that had to get a flatbed to tow him off the track.
Oh man,
I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's fantastic. This like looking at this picture. Look at this, like BMW.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Right?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
This is all fantastic. Chevy Cavalier just getting after it.
Cavalier like pulled out of a swamp.
Yeah. A Harlequin Saturn. Yeah.
That was amazing. A $200 purchase.
Yes, right?
And that ran all weekend. It did not break on him.
That's amazing. Those things are so funny, that era Saturn of like, like my wife had one and it was the worst car like it barely ran. It only had like 40,000 miles on it. Didn't run. And I feel like they had like an A shift at that factory and a B shift.
Right.
And they either were unkillable or just complete lemons. And there was like no in between.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the Rally Rabbit from Years and Queers fame.
RIP, pour one out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The very light incident at Summit Point with that car did not take it out. They drove it home, but then it got hit again.
Yep.
Well.
Yeah. Thankfully, everyone was okay. It got hit while it was parked on the street, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Oh, that's what we told the cops anyway.
You parked right outside a racetrack. Interesting.
Yeah.
No, this is fantastic. So tell us about like some of the road rally stuff, because I've never done a road rally. Ian, have you done a road rally?
I haven't. No.
We want to do road rallies. Tell us about road rally stuff. Yeah.
So these are, I think, road rally is like the best name I could give it. I think we can build them into something that's more like a real road rally where there's like checkpoints and, points you can earn and things. What we're calling a road rally is basically just a day-long group drive.
Okay.
It's another way to get people together in person with cars involved to do some driving and do it in a much more affordable, attainable way that's not a track event that like limits the type of car you can bring and all that sort of stuff. And financially, this is way more viable for a lot of people.
Right.
I'm just one of those people. I don't care about car shows that much. I would much rather be driving because that's more what gets me going with automotive.
Right.
Like we were in LA the other week and I got to go through the Peterson Museum and I got to stare at a lot of very amazing cars that are very significant cars from history and, one of three sort of things. And it was all tremendously cool. And like, it made an impact on me, but I had more fun actually like going and driving on canyon roads and like being out operating the car.
Sure.
Right.
So, that's my goal with all of this is get people, cars and coffee's cool, but like, I really want to get people out driving more.
I like that. Like removing like the stresses that they're going to put on their car from a track, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like saying like, this isn't a race, stick to the speed limit, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
and we put
great.
people in smaller groups and have, a lead car and a chase car and everyone has radios and, there's a route you can follow. And yeah, the whole point is like, especially on the East Coast, we get people coming from, like the DC area, Baltimore, Philly, New York City, like places where even if you have a car, like the driving kind of sucks. So
Sure.
Get together on the weekend, get a hotel room so you can stay wherever we are and like spend a day or two, like hitting all of the good roads in the area and just like enjoying the whole point of having a car,
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing. Yeah. So you have the Longwood Gardens road rally coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
March 26th. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is going to end at Longwood Gardens, which is a very famous, well-known spot at this point. I've actually, a friend of mine is leading and hosting this one.
Okay.
But yeah, we've got like 40 something drivers signed up for it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be great. I like how this is not a venue in which to explore your limits as a driver or the limits of your vehicle.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, I'll take your money 6 weeks afterward and you can come to Summit Point.
There you go.
You see?
There you go.
I'm also real big on like not doing something too stupid on the street because I've had it impact my life too many times to be worth risking again,
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yep.
Yes, it's very good advice.
Yeah.
Dave, what do you say we play a game?
I would love to. I just want to hit a couple more events, right? So
yeah.
The upcoming track cross event.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Talk to us about that, and I think I can find it on the schedule here. Events. Out Motorsports, super easy site to navigate. Everybody, look at this.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Go check it out. Click on all the ads multiple times. So yeah, basically we did the one event last year in August, which I picked that date because I had to. It was what was free. Let me tell you, having a bunch of people bring $1,500 cars dragged out of swamps to West Virginia in August is like guaranteed bad time for cooling systems. I've owned old BMWs, for a long time, and cooling systems are fragile. We had one driver, he meant to bring something else. The car wasn't ready. He borrowed his husband's BMW Z3 Coupe and told him, this will be easy on the car and whatever. And it made it like all day the first day. And the last run of Saturday, he left the start line and I've never seen a failure like this. It vomited all of its coolant out the kidney grills, out the car.
Oh my God.
He
literally
made it like
vomited.
7 feet. it vomited, and he came to a stop right away, and the car was fine. But it was just such a sight to see. Like, it was right out.
Like, not for emetophobes. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So that was something.
Some
anyway.
BMW engineer was like, "This is exactly what I had in mind
Right.
for a random coolant injection."
The failure mode I designed it to have.
Yeah. Tesla has Easter eggs like you can play Pong or whatever bullshit.
Right.
And BMW has badass Easter eggs like you can make your car projectile vomit.
Right. All you have to do is own it for 25 years and expect things to last like they would in a Honda. So anyway, with picking the dates for this year, well, first of all, we're doing 2 of these this year because everyone said they had a ton of fun. And I said, if I did 2, would you come? And everyone said yes. And I said, okay, I will book this venue twice. Let me tell you, you have to put some deposits down at a racetrack. So if anyone's listening and wants to come, please sign up, because I would love your registration fee. And I also would love for you to come and have a great time. But I also have some bills to pay. But thinking of how last year went, I really wanted to not do this in August. So we've got one in May. It's over Mother's Day weekend, which to that I just said, bring your mom if she's offended that you won't be home. Like, she's invited to.
That's going to make for great dash cam GoPro videos.
Oh, yeah. A lot of Jesus handle grabbing.
Yes.
Or if we get a helmet on mom and let her drive, even better. And then we'll do one October 8th and 9th. So hoping to have much better weather in both cases. The gays can melt in the heat and the sun. So also try to avoid that. But just try and be a little kinder to the cars if we can in particular.
Sure. Yeah.
And West Virginia in August, like I've been there in August, and it's basically the same heat and humidity as inside the cooling system of a car. So it's no thank you.
May and October should be like much prettier.
That's gonna be great, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So and I always try to do a theme. We started this with the off-road trips. So all of the like the shit boxes from last year, like the Harlequin Saturn, and Chris and Jake may disagree, the Rabbit, the Eagle. The theme for last year was orphan makes and models. So stuff you can't buy in the United States anymore.
Yes.
That one was incredibly fun. Maybe we'll do it again at some point, because it was just so cool to see what people found. But the whole cheap car challenge thing started as like a riff on Top Gear, all of those looked so fun. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And what I found was, if you just have someone to say, let's do it, and kind of gently push everyone else, here's your budget, here's the date we're doing it, people will go buy cars.
Okay.
So we did it for an off-road trip. It was an all-wheel drive, not four-wheel drive off-roading. And then last year was the orphan makes and models. We did a rally cross with cars your grandmothers would love. And then this year is family haulers. So sedans, wagons, minivans. I'm hoping to see the trifecta, quadfecta, whatever of GM U-bodies show up.
Yes.
So I hope someone can find a Buick Terrazzo for $1,500, because I'm here for it.
Yes. That's awesome. Yeah. Get on Auto Tempest and send that save search for Buick Terrazzo. Or what was what was the Saturn version of the minivan?
The Relay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. All right.
I don't ask why I know all my GMU bodies, but I do.
That came real quick, Jake.
Yep. I've been talking about this to a lot of people.
I love it. Yeah. So what are you running? What are you bringing to the event?
So I'm not bringing a cheap car. So part of, like I mentioned, part of what we do at this point is also new car reviews. And we've also got a lot of manufacturer support for several different reasons. We actually are able to host a scholarship this year. We can come back to that in a second. But I've got support from Toyota, Mazda, and Michelin in particular. So first of all, I have to take like 3 seconds to say thank you to those 3 brands because they truly believe in what we're doing. They sent me some real money to help bring some people here who maybe couldn't come otherwise. But
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's been really, really special. But I have a lot of cars lined up to drive for, new car reviews, and I truly, this just so happened this way. I didn't request it. I have a Cadillac CT5 Blackwing that I will have at the event.
Oh,
And
Jake, yes.
Awesome. I emailed back to Cadillac and I said, hey, this is the weekend that this was scheduled for, that I will have it. And I said, it just so happens I'm hosting my own track weekend. I would love to put together a video with the car on Summit Point because that's the point of the car. And also, it's my event. I can control the scenarios in which I drive it. And you all did the launch for this thing at VIR. And I didn't get to go to that. So can I please drive it at Summit? And they said, no burnouts, no drifting, have fun.
that's amazing.
So,
that's great.
That's how I drive normally.
Yeah.
Right. So,
yeah.
No. Finish your thought. You were saying, Jake.
well, so I'll have the Blackwing, and then Toyota is working on sending either a Supra or a GR86 as a official pace car.
There you
Fantastic.
I don't know who's going to bring that, but it'll show up at some point.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Man,
Yeah.
other manufacturers
So
need
very
to hop on that,
Yeah, I pitched this to a lot of people. I have a lot of manufacturers who I think want to see how things go this year.
Yeah.
And they said, keep us in mind for 2023, grow it like one more time, and we're on board.
Okay.
That's great.
I've got a lot of people that are like super close.
Right on.
Yeah. I hope you get to do some Mother's Day ride-alongs in the Blackwing.
Oh, you bet we will.
Man. I never thought I'd say I want to be in West Virginia in May, but here we are.
I mean, if you could do like a breakfast in bed, like with a breakfast in bed tray with a mom in the back having breakfast in bed in the back of the Blackwing while you're doing a hot lap, YouTube gold.
See what I can do. I'll see what I can do.
Like that. I like that. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. We're super psyched about these events. Like, yeah, we wanted to have you on to promote them, for sure. Get it out to the 7 folks that listen to this. But yeah, no, you can find everything at outmotorsports.com, including the new car reviews.
All there.
Right? Yeah. What have you had to review that you've like really been surprised by or you've liked lately?
Well, I have a Lexus IS 500 in the garage right now. We'll take it home tomorrow, and it is imperfect. It is not the segment leader at all, but it's so cool. Like,
I was going to say,
it's just like the thing with all the best parts they have that they threw together, and it works, and it's got a ton of character, and like it's a little soft on purpose, and that kind of makes it a little more fun.
Yeah.
So. That was one that like I think I didn't expect to like it as much as I've liked it.
Nice.
Yeah. I
Those,
really hope we get to drive one of those because I'm intrigued.
Yeah. We were last like really captivated by the GSF. Like we really dug that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were really cool cars.
Right? Yeah.
But again, if you asked how is this better than any other car in the segment, there's no
It wasn't.
Right.
But it got under our skin like nothing else. Like it was just so charming in the way that it was imperfect. It was great. And it did
the other one that I had.
fantastic.
This. Like, you can't turn the traction control all the way off on this one. It'll do a burnout. I will publicly admit on live podcasts. I have tried burnouts in the IS 500. It'll do a burnout for like 50 feet.
Oh, okay.
Like if you like mat it away from a stoplight with the traction control off, you get like enough wheel spin to make you giggle, and then it just reins it all back in. So like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But you were saying the other one?
Yeah, the other car I had earlier this year, towards the start of the year, I've driven both a Grand Wagoneer and a new Jeep Grand Cherokee L.
Okay.
And the like spicy take that you'll either really agree with me on or like really not. The Grand Cherokee L is the better Grand Wagoneer than the Grand Wagoneer as far as a reboot is concerned.
Wow.
Okay.
Why do you say that? What about the Grand Wagoneer don't you like?
I think for $103,000, you need to bring something new to the table, and it just doesn't.
Yeah.
It feels like kind of like the IS 500. It feels like they took the best bits that they had and put it all together in a size and a capability set that was appropriate for the segment, which is like Escalade and Navigator and, whatever else. But they're not like class leading on tech or drivetrain or,
Right.
much. They're competitive, but they're not standing ahead. And on top of that, I don't think the styling works.
Right.
Whereas the Grand Cherokee L, I think the proportions are spot on. I think it feels more opulent than the bigger, more expensive Grand Wagoneer. And it just, I fell in love with this, and it's like, it's just another Grand Cherokee, but it's so good.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a very fascinating. I had them like 3 weeks apart, so it was interesting. The one was still fresh in my mind when I drove the other.
Yeah, that's nice when that happens, when you can do stuff back to back and be like, oh.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Nice. Would you like to play a game with us, Jake? We have a license.
I would. I don't know what we're doing, but I'm into it.
Okay. All right. Ian, you explain it. I'll pull it up here.
This is the game we stole from Highlights Magazine. So it's basically a matchy match. So Dave is going to give you a picture of 3 cars with their license plates blacked out. And then on the side, you're going to have the text from those license plates. So it's going to be vanity plates that somebody got ill-advised. And then you're going to have to select which text goes with which car. And being the grossest stereotypical person you can be is your key to victory here.
All right, I'm going to lean into this.
Yeah.
This should be good. And also in Virginia, I'm a new DC proper resident. I grew up and lived in Virginia until last September. We love a vanity plate because you can do them for $10 a year.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
We have a friend that travels a lot, and she sends us pictures from Virginia because
a lot of Virginia
they're
ones, yeah.
everywhere. Yeah. Do you have a vanity
so
plate?
easy.
Are you a vanity plate on?
Not on my current car yet.
Okay.
I bought a Cayenne diesel.
Sweet.
And I waited to title it till we got to DC, and then I just got the tags they gave me. And I want to get a tag for it. If we were sitting elsewhere in my apartment where you could see down our main hallway, I have vanity plates running down the length of the hallway when you come in the front door. I've owned, I think, 21 cars, and most of those have had a vanity plate, if not 2 or 3 different ones over the several years I've owned the car.
What's your vanity plate? What's your vanity plate sort of approach? Do you try to go clever? Do you just go, these are my initials, deal with it, everyone? What do you...
Oh, no. I want clever that relates to the car.
Okay. Give us some examples. Yeah.
Without doxing yourself.
Yeah.
I don't live at any of these addresses anymore. I owned a 2013 Focus ST when those were brand new. I was making $40,000 a year and thought it was a great idea to order a $28,000 car. And that one said torque steer because even though Ford said it didn't, it did. I've had several related to towing on different things. I had a red F-150, a 2018 that was Clifford. So that just said Clifford, the big red truck. The one I want for the Cayenne, because it's a diesel and Porsche's first vehicle was a diesel tractor or whatever. I wanted to say TRAKTOR for like tractor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's the cleverest thing I can do.
Yeah.
So it's either going to be that or Knox, like telling you a Knox joke because of the Dieselgate scandal.
Yes.
Nice.
Right.
Nice. I like that.
We
All
can
right,
get
well-
into Dieselgate later. It's a whole separate story. But let's play this game. Let's talk vanity plates.
Okay.
Yeah. You're going to be an expert at this, so
Yeah.
I have high hopes for you.
And feel free just to take it all in. Ian hasn't seen this either, so both of you will be guessing. And yeah, I'll narrate, just kind of what's on the screen initially, but feel free to chime in however you'd like.
Sure.
So, and we can zoom and enhance on this as well. So, so up top we have just basic white Ford Fusion, right? We've got a black Ford Escape, and we have a very purple, blackish Subaru Impreza WRX STI. So, yeah. And the license plates, Ian, Jake, do either of you want to read the license plates?
Sure. So, all right, we've got Argmatey, ARGHM8Y. We've got Lil Mojo, LILMOJO, and then we have Bizzle, BIZZLE.
Yep. This one, usually there's a theme. This was just kind of more fun.
This is fantastic. This is going to be really tough. I feel like I could talk myself into any of these in a combination. Like I could see any of these working. The one thing I would notice is that Argmatey is very long. I feel like that's
maybe I misspelled.
No, you're right. That's 7. That's 7.
That's 7.
It
just looks long.
Yeah. How about we do a little zoom and enhance, right?
Yeah, let's look at some context clues.
Yep. Dirty Ford Fusion, but this is from the...
She's a titanium.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And just the AutoNation license plate surround.
Yep.
And
State
it's
of
Michigan.
Yeah, which is odd because this was taken by me in Colorado. But yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Not much to go off of there. All right.
Right.
What about the next one?
Yeah. So the
sticker.
Yeah, the Escape. Yep.
Also a titanium. You got some loaded Fords here.
People are shelling out. Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is a Connecticut tag, and it's got a lighthouse on it. So I'm thinking maybe you can't have as many letters on that one.
Or nautical themed.
True.
There's a pirate. Pirates have boats. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
and you don't want the boat to hit the island, so you get a lighthouse on your plate.
It's a stretch.
Okay. All right. And then this was taken also by me down here in Colorado at the parking lot of one of my favorite places to eat, a place called Kickin' Chicken. That is the only restaurant I've ever seen with a straight up 5-star review on Yelp and like 400 something reviews. So if you're in Denver, you need to get the fuck over to Kickin' Chicken.
I will go there immediately with my purple Subaru.
Yes. Yeah. So D-badge.
This one has Colorado tags on it too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, was it difficult, Dave, to get this picture through the vape smoke, or did you have to take that out and post, or how did you...
Yes.
How'd you manage that?
There was a lot of editing that went into this, like those Photoshop healing brushes, working overtime, man, working overtime. Yeah.
Everyone needs a little healing.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, there's the reflection of my little Nugget car in there, my little Fiat. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right, Jake, what are you thinking? What's your first like gut instinct about any of these?
My gut instinct, because of the potential for a shorter number of letters on the Escape's license plate with that lighthouse, is Bizzle goes on the Escape.
Okay. All right.
And then I'm really getting Lil Mojo vibes on the Fusion with the pink AutoNation plate frame, and it just, I don't know, that just seems to fit.
Okay.
And I think Argmatey would fit the Subaru. Subaru people seem to be kind of cheeky, and they like being clever or thinking they're clever. So that one seems to be the most clever tag. So I'd put it with Subaru.
I can see like the IT guy that we all know that has the WRX STI, like that when he shows up to work on Talk Like a Pirate Day, he lets you know it's Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Yes.
Right.
Otherwise, like, how the hell would I ever know it's Talk Like a Pirate Day? Right. But okay. Okay. I see your reasoning. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's my like hit the button final answer.
Okay. Ian, what do you think?
Yeah, I was also trying to figure out, like, I have a much, I think, dimmer view of people who enjoy Talk Like a Pirate Day. So I feel like that, a white Ford Fusion with zero mods or anything else interesting about it, that could be a Talk Like a Pirate Day person. So I'm going to say Argmady for the Fusion. And then I'm going to go Bizzle for the Escape and Lil Mojo for the Rexy.
Okay. All right. Well, Ian, I have to tell you, you lost, buddy. Jake got it.
Usually do.
Did I get it?
Yeah. I mean, you came close. You got
closer than me.
You beat Ian. You got Little Mojo, right? What is it about a Ford? Like, I had to take this picture. Like, I was just so happy to see, like, Little Mojo just running around, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. Whenever you see a tag like that, it just seems like the owner, like, has some attitude and has some personality, even if the car maybe doesn't have a whole lot of it.
Yeah.
So that just, like, a tag like that on a car that also had personality wouldn't seem to fit for me.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I don't know, but your vibes about it being Little Mojo were right. The Argmady was on the Lighthouse frame.
I should have gone with my gut instinct with it being nautical.
Yeah, you were right.
This is what Ian does. He'll have that right thing, and then he'll get in there and he'll talk himself out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the WRX with Bizzle, I can just see this person, like, trying to talk you into some kind of vague NFT startup because Bizzle is short for business to this person.
Yeah.
Right.
My first instinct was Bizzle on the Subaru.
Yeah.
But,
trust your gut, folks.
That's what I mean. It rewards just gross generalizations, and your gut is almost always right.
Yeah.
Not that I ever take my own advice on it.
Right.
Yeah. And our buddy Pat in Connecticut sent in the Argmady plate. That's great.
Cool. Good.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
If anyone wants to, including you, Jake, if you ever see a vanity plate and you want to send it to us, text it to 720-515-1391. Yeah. The Apex adjacent, crisis line that you can text it
the
to.
hotline.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Just send it right on over. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So where can people find you? What should they do? Give us the deets, the follows, all that stuff.
Well, you can find me personally on Twitter, giving you hot takes and terrible takes about anything. Right now, it's the repair status of my beloved diesel Touareg with nice seats. But as far as Out Motorsports, outmotorsports.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We have a YouTube channel that's mostly for new car reviews, but we try to do more stuff if we get time. But all of us have full-time jobs, so time is, fleeting.
Yeah, no, it's a work of passion, right? Like carving this stuff out and having a day job, it takes extra effort, and it's awesome that you're doing this. Like, this is really fantastic, and we were so happy that, like, we found you on the internet, that you're doing this.
Yeah.
And, like, that just we can have more fingers pointing people in the direction of this, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the love, especially for the organization. I love talking about all things cars, but if I get to promote all this in the process, like, so much better.
Yeah, no problem. I do have to ask real quick. Did you the Touareg? Is it the V10 Touareg? Did you get a V10
Well,
Touareg?
so
Or it's the Cayenne?
It's a Cayenne.
Okay.
I just joke because it's just a Touareg with fancy seats and a better suspension.
Okay,
But
gotcha.
it's the V6, the 3-liter TDI.
Okay, because you didn't seem like somebody that hated yourself that much.
No.
I'm not getting awful self-esteem vibes off of you, Jake. Yeah.
No. I'm too busy to deal with that many times of engine out service.
Right.
The Cayenne is currently at the dealership having the entire engine and subframe and transmission and suspension pulled. To service advisor called me today and she goes, we're basically resealing everything that holds oil in it.
Okay.
Because it's just oozing everywhere. So the good news is the Dieselgate scandal, they put a warranty on these things that lasts for 10 years or 120,000 miles from the date of first sale.
Okay.
So I've got a warranty that covers the entire long block plus all the diesel emissions stuff until the end of this year.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm dead serious. And that's why I bought the car, is because it was a one-owner car out of Florida with 67,000 miles. And I knew there were some potential leaky bits with the engine, but they would pull it out and reseal it. And it's good for life at that point. So this will probably be a $10,000 to $12,000 warranty item for Porsche.
Right.
And they're just doing it.
Nice.
So it's there. She called me today. She goes, the warranty's going to cover it all, and it's under a service bulletin, and call you when it's done. She goes, I'll call you when it's done. It could be a month.
I like to think that whenever anyone picks up a car from, one of the VAG automakers, and it's a Dieselgate repair, when you grab the keys from the service advisor, you just say, "Remember, lying never pays." Just to rub it in, just a little
really
bit.
Cool. So I don't want to rub it in at all because she's been very good to me so far.
Yeah. We can flip off corporate, but we're going to be nice to the
Right.
service people. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. You need at least one friend at a warranty related service department.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah. Ian over here burning bridges.
I was joking.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on the show, talking to us and telling us about
thank you
stuff.
so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We will. Ian, anything else that you want to say before we?
No, just, I'm in awe of just finding something that doesn't exist for you and then making it available for more people, and figuring out how to rent a racetrack. That's fucking awesome. And just should be celebrated, and it's just cool. So
thanks.
Come back anytime and we can just get a status update on your Touareg with fancy seats.
I hope to have a positive one in the next 3 to 12 weeks or whenever it's ready.
Good luck with that.
Thank you. And thank you both for having me on. And if you ever make your way out this way, come to Summit Point. We'll have a good time.
Yeah, and same for you. If you're ever in Denver, karting and High Plains Raceway. Absolutely.
Yeah, I will call you up. We'll do it.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thanks again, Jake. Everyone else.
Thank you guys.
Everyone else, we love you. Goodbye.